for joining us for the webinar, Are You Leveraging HR Technology? Here's how you should build a comprehensive approach in partnership with PeopleWorks. This is Saloni from People Matters, and before moving to the agenda of the day, let me give you a brief of the topic. As the HR function pushes itself to the forefront of organizational transformation, leveraging HR technology to create that impact is core to its success. This webinar will help you understand some of the key pillars to make your HR technology strategy stronger. Additionally, you will also learn of best practices and understand some common challenges and how to overcome them. Join an exciting webinar that deliberates over how you can build a comprehensive HR technology approach. This webinar will address what is the business case of the increased role of HR technology, what are the key tenets of a strong HR technology strategy, which are the common challenges that organizations face in their endeavor of defining their journey, what should organizations start, stop, and continue doing when it comes to HR technology, and how are some of the organizations redefining their HR function and businesses through HR technology. Let me now introduce the speakers for this webinar. We have the privilege of having with us Krishna Bhatt, CTO PeopleWorks, and Dr. Murli Padmanabhan, Senior VP and India Head Talent Management, Virtusa Polaris. Krishna has experience in areas such as Lean Six Sigma, software design and development, IT managed services, product and services operations. He has held various leadership roles in organizations such as Infosys, SLK Software, and GE. He has consulted with organizations such as British Telecom and SecureCore Telesciences. He has conceptualized and developed products in the areas of image management, CRM, BI, and decision support, and ERP of SMEs. He is a certified master black belt in Lean Six Sigma from GE Aircraft Engines with a passion for technology and processes. Krishna is an acknowledged software architect, problem solver, change agent, and process, SDLC, Lean Sigma, and ITIL expert. Dr. Murli Padmanabhan is a Senior Vice President, India Head Talent Management, Virtusa Polaris, a well-known information technology services provider with a global reach. His responsibilities include HR strategy, leadership, and organization development, and top talent development. He has over 24 years of experience and has worked at CMC, TCS, SoftPro, and Deloitte Consulting before joining Virtusa Polaris. Murli brings with him a rich experience of the multiple facets of HR, including strategy, organization development, HR technology, and leadership development. Our partner for today's webinar is PeopleWorks, headquartered in Bengaluru. PeopleWorks is the coming together of excellence in HR management, technology, and business growth. Armed with an in-depth experience in HR management and market leadership in payroll solutions for over a decade. Our large customer base is testimony to the benchmark we have set in the industry. PeopleWorks is led by an enviable pedigree of visionary leadership, supported by an innovative HR technology team, and driven by a robust customer service philosophy. Their SCM solution was born out of a single vision of enabling businesses, both large and small, with a simple and relevant human capital management solution. The objective is to support the people management function in the organizations, so that employees can emerge as an inspired workforce for collaborative business success. We have saved time for you to ask your questions at the end of the webinar. For those watching live webinar, you can submit questions at any time during the presentation through the Q&A section. We will try to respond to as many questions as time allows. We have an exciting topic to discuss in this webinar today. So without any further delay, let me invite Mr. Krishna and Mr. Murli to take over. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Saloni. So I would really thank People Matters. This is Murli here. People Matters and PeopleWorks for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts and views on use of technology in HR space. So I'll be kind of painting a practitioner's view, a user's view on some of these items, and I'll let Krishna talk about the technology aspects of today's webinar. So having having worked in HR for such a long time, I spend most of my time in learning and development. So I have seen the growth of technology or use of technology in trying to deliver training as a delivery engine. I think so that was the early adoption of technology in HR. So if you go to the next slide. This particular slide talks about, and just kind of a snapshot of how the evolution of HR systems, happened. Just to put some perspective and some context, and this is based on a study done by Deloitte. So if you see the centerpiece where the figure where you have the entire evolution of the HR system, right, from 2000 to 2016. In the 16 years, I think the HR systems have come a long way. Initially it started off with some HR process automation, trying to automate processes that HR was involved in administering. And then came up the integrated talent management solutions, which we call as HCM solutions. A lot of these are very similar to the ERP solutions that you have in the marketplace. That's where the next evolution happened, and then you started seeing cloud-based systems of engagement. That's what really kind of was a game changer, where it was felt that it's not, the HR systems are not just to ease the work of folks working in the department, right? It's more about trying to service employees of an organization and trying to influence or change the employee experience through the entire employee life cycle in the organization. So that was the endeavor, and that's where the cloud-based systems of engagement kind of came in. And I think some of the systems that are in vogue today have really done that. And I'm sure Krishna is going to talk more about, how PeopleWorks, is kind of what's PeopleWorks' vision on this and how they are really thinking about changing the employee experience during the life cycle of an employee in an organization. So today, it's all app-based. So we have really seen a lot of these being very app-based and trying to make the work life better, which means you're able to carry out all the HR processes like you carry out any transactions, for example, a banking transaction or any other transaction that you do. So that's where I think we are headed from an evolution standpoint. So right from HR process automation, which is trying to simplify the work of an HR department, to trying to change the employee experience is where the evolution is. So if you see on this slide, we just kind of highlighted few items or few processes that have been impacted by HR technology or the latest trends in HR technology. So one area definitely that I'm sure many organizations are talking about, and it's a very, I think a very hot topic and a favorite topic in HR circles, on the performance evaluation piece. Primarily, the discussion is how objectively can we get the performance evaluation done how can we really provide the evaluation in real time? Why should an employee wait for 6 months or 1 year to get a feedback on what they have done, right? So why can't it be done on a daily basis? Today's technology provides for that, and a lot of companies have started experimenting and trying to use some of these technologies to be able to provide precise, objective evaluation of performance on a daily basis, if not an hourly basis. So that's, I think, a significant shift from how things were done in the yesteryears. Then looking at employee retention and improving, to improve, obviously, and this is a no-brainer. There's a lot of research to say that retention reduces recruitment costs, right? A cost of new hire is always 20 to 30% or 2x than retaining an employee. Now, typically, retentions years was done in a very reactive manner. So there would be these counter offers, and that would cause a lot of issues. So now we could use predictive analytics. We could use data that's available to be able to say what should we do proactively to ensure longevity of an employee within an organization. So I think retention, whole idea of being able to retain an employee has completely changed. So I think there's a lot of work that's being done in that space as well. And in terms of benefits administration, compensation and benefits, many a times this is an area which was very confidential, and you can't really share a lot of information. The automation that happened in this area was very, very, very minuscule. It didn't really touch the employee experience piece. But I think today things have changed. So employees can actually get into the system and customize the benefits that they would want to exercise. And it is very interactive, and it gives them a sense of using benefits as per their requirements. So benefits administration also has seen a big shift, and the way it's being done using technologies is really marvelous. Recruitment and onboarding. This is a big area again. A lot of changes have happened. Today, for example, if you're really looking at a candidate, you are trying to get information about the candidate using their digital footprint, create a picture of the candidate before even you approach the candidate. So a lot of data that's available can be used, can be analyzed to be able to attract, to select candidates. So I think a lot of work is being done in that area as well. Onboarding, yes, can completely can be revolutionized by using technologies like virtual reality and things like that. Complete onboarding training could be done online. Simulations could be used. So the whole onboarding experience can be very different in today's world using technology. And leadership development has also seen an impact of this, though I would say the percentage of technology being used in this area is not to a great extent. Even today it is on a personal touch, a high touch kind of a function. But then there is technology that is being used as well. Learning, I'm sure a lot of examples are there where learning could be completely, you could use learning data to be able to come up what are the preferences of individuals, and the system can actually recommend courses based on what an individual's preference is, or what an individual is supposed to be learning in an organization. So all these could be done pretty much like in an autopilot. I think a big piece that's also impacting HR technology standpoint, and this is the latest trend that I'm seeing, is being able to use the software robots in being able to address some of the back-end queries. So typically in organizations in the past, you would have a call center or a HR helpline where you call into the HR helpline, and there is somebody sitting there and actually answering your queries. And then there was a ticketing system that was put in place for you to be able to get a resolution to the query that you have raised as an employee. Today, some of that work is being taken over by software robots. I have seen some implementations that are happening, some experimentations that are happening, and the results have been very good. So what would my view is the back-end work will probably get intensely or insanely automated, and HR folks would really be spending time in adding value to employees' experience in the organization. So if you really want to kind of sum it up, it's the most valuable component of investment in technology is not the operational efficiency. I think there is a need to bring in operational efficiency, and that happens in every organizational process. You keep doing that, but that's not the maximum value you get from. You get maximum value is by getting meaningful data and being able to use that data to draw up your HR strategy and to be able to deal with employee aspirations. I think that's where the value comes in, and that's what technology is actually doing in today's world. So that's on the on what are the possible impacts in different areas. And this is again some study that was done by Harvard, and it talks about what are the advantages of or benefits of using technology. I think the primary aim, and I would simply put it as being able to humanize the HR function, right? Really bring in that element of personal touch, high touch, wherever it's required, and being able to have that dialogue or interaction with employees in a way that's useful for their career life in the organization and for the organization at large itself. So areas like career advice, areas like being able to counsel, areas in terms of giving guidance around how they should really progress within the organization, what could make them successful. Those kind of dialogues could be had productively if technology is used effectively within an organization in HR processes. I think people analytics, I think a lot has been said and talked about it. I'm sure Krishna is going to talk more about this. It's going to play a major role in HR strategy going forward. So that's a big advantage. So you have data and that can be used in drawing up HR strategy. So I talked about using HR resources in a more agile way. So that's fine. HR operations, I think this is not a big benefit in my mind. However, HR operations can be streamlined, and there can be more predictability brought in terms of the service quality in HR service quality. So I think that's an advantage, and simplification is always a benefit of implementing technology. So these were some of the benefits that we have. So this is again from McKinsey report and some reports from Bursin. The spend in technology, HR technology, is increasing. Okay, and I think all companies are investing in a big way in use of technology in HR. So that's a good news. And also there has been a direct correlation in terms of increase in top line and a reduction of cost when technology is being used. So that's what the figure at the left-hand bottom shows up. On the right-hand side, this is just an example of how technology is used, and this is a real cool product that we came across, and I'm sure there are other products in the market as well. This is about being able to get real-time feedback from your peers, from your supervisor, whoever are your current stakeholders, being able to get real-time feedback. So typically, the millennial generation wants, has this mantra of when you see it, you say it. I don't really want you to tell me how I behaved or did not do after 6 months. Tell me right then and there. If the feedback is really worth considering, I would consider that and work on it. So how can we give instant feedback to employees as we see them at work. So this is an app that's actually that could be used. So you could actually crowdsource data and get real-time data about employees to be and use it to help the employee improve his productivity, quality or whatever, right? So that's one application that could be. So that's all I had for my part of it, and I'll let Krishna take over now, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that may come across. Over to you, Krishna.
Hi to all who joined the webinar. When I signed on for the webinar, I realized that I had to walk a thin line between it being a shell for PeopleWorks, advertising for PeopleWorks, and versus, talking of HR implementation, the HR landscape, and technology. So I opted for the latter. You go through my presentation. As we go through it, you'll see that there's less emphasis on what PeopleWorks is right now, in terms of feature set, which I will actually elaborate on, orally. And, I'll kind of segue from where Murli left off, okay? So HR strategy. The first is that we deploy a strategy, not technology. What I mean by this is that, HR in an organization, is not just a function. And, as a CXO, you would look at, can HR be a strategic business partner? So HR is always looked upon to deliver value in terms of, everything that Murli spoke about. In terms of be it retention, and be it in terms of organizational rejuvenation, be it in terms of participating in the growth of the organization. So the HR processes and efficiency of HR, really needs to be laid out and well thought of. And in continuation, so the technology which supports HR needs to align with HR and business goals. Agility is key to HR technology strategy. Now, what I mean by this is, at PeopleWorks, okay, and across organizations that I've worked across very small organizations, right from 20, 30-person organizations to a large organization like GE, where we had about 300,000 employees. The thing is that the same set of things don't apply to all organizations, and organizations grow, organizations change, okay? And as organizations change, you need technology or you need solutions that grow with you. You have a set of processes when an organization is about, let's say, 50 persons. When you grow it to, let's say, 500, it's different. When you become multi-location, it's different. Multi-location within the state is different. Multi-location within the country is different. Multi-location across the planet is different, because your policies are going to be in conformance to local laws and local statutory requirements, and you want to be aligned with that. And you want a solution that grows with you, which supports you, in this goal of growth. When you choose an organization, an HR technology, move the focus away from efficiency and effectiveness more to enable and empower, So efficiency and effectiveness part of it is what Murli addressed, where he says that, hey, not just automation of HR processes, which is merely, digitization of a transaction. You want to move toward analytics. You want to move toward data-driven decisions. You want this data to support, decisions to make for the organization strategically. You want to factor in continuous improvement, which is again based on, organization growth, and as the organization grows or as your HR policies mature. And move on to the next slide, slide 3, talking about the challenges. Two views to this, two sides of the same coin. One is for all the HR folks on this call, right? It's about diversity. Can the product that I get, take care of all the variations that I have in my organization, right? Diversity of policies. And at PeopleWorks, we look at, how do we cater to organizations which have different sets of policies, and huge diversity of this, okay? And the second is when you choose a technology, you look at, a need for customizations. Pretty much, and this is pretty much a rule, is that there's no software, there's no solution which is going to simply work out of the box. You're going to take it and you're going to have variations on it. You're going to need some level of customization, something which is very specific to you. So what this is meant for us is, the way we look at our software, we look at HCMS as an ERP, and driven the configurations, okay, and which cater to different policies of organizations. The third thing, which both from the HR community, you look at, and what we look at as we go to implement is, fear, job fear. Once we get in this HCMS software, right, it's going to take away my job, and the thing is about what value is this adding and what, how are we enabling this? How is this setting up the organization for growth? How is it allowing the HR folks to actually do a more valued job, and support the growth in the organization? Affordability, okay? What's it going to cost me? What's it going to cost me today? And what's it going to cost me tomorrow? So when I grow, what's it going to cost me? And as my organization grows, my policies change. What's it going to cost me to implement these in my organization? Data security, is my data secure? When it's on-premise, is it secure? When it's on the cloud, is it secure? IT maintenance, how the cost of infrastructure, is there an IT support team which I need to factor in? What about backups? What about bugs? What about, defects which we get? Is someone going to be, fixing these and deploying this to me? And is my organization going to be able to, overcome these and continue to service our core constituents, right? And downtime, training, the whole caboodle, which comes with IT maintenance. Moving on to slide 4. I have start, continue, and stop. I realized that I needed to have stop first. First is stop using point solutions. Something just fits your need for now. Okay, and stop. Just automating something. Okay, look at enabling. And here, I want to step back and then talk about when you introduce a solution, when you introduce a system, rather than first just implement it, look at are your processes good? Are the processes scalable? Are they stable? Are they going to change over some time? Are you having a process which for sure is going to die in a couple of months or a couple of years and they're going to change? So you want to look at those and you start looking for well-integrated solutions. What I mean by this is your HCMS solutions are not going to exist in isolation. They're going to, all likelihood, they're going to be running payroll, they're going to be running benefits, they're going to be running travel and expense and settling those claims. Now, do all these feed into your larger financial systems, namely maybe the Oracle Financials of the world or be it, the SAPs of the world. And you want to look for a partner who stays with you beyond the sale. And at all times, you're going to continue to look at technology benefits and you're going to look at, how to view costs very objectively. Moving to slide 4. Now, here is where, I'm just going to pull up all my bullets, So here is where at the PeopleWorks, right, we look at our own software, right? Over the years, we've evolved it. So we look at when we cater to customers, when we cater to, the broad variety of customers, are we able to digitize their processes? Okay. First of all, accommodate all their policies. Our small customers just have one approval. Something is approved by the manager, they're done. So our larger customers say, hey, has these approvals which need to first go to HR, then goes to my manager. We have another class of customers where it goes to the skip manager. And then we have this where, where we have catered to larger corporates, which deal in staffing. They have a different sets of policies based upon the customers which they cater to, right? So we look at, in PeopleWorks, how do we standardize complex processes while allowing flexibility for local requirements? Develop advanced workflows planning capabilities. Any good tech solution needs to have a good manpower resource planning module, which allows you to project, which allows you to baseline your capacity at some point in time and allows you to project your need, for the year, and always looks at integrating your other modules, be it recruitment or be it promotions or be it transfers, and look at it in terms of what's availability of a position, okay, and what the need for it. Change management as a critical success factor. When we reduce administrative work for HR business partners, flexible HR organization design. What we've done for this, okay? So here is where I'm going to digress a bit and talk to you about, what we're doing in PeopleWorks, right? We are looking at, we look at a large organization. We look at a small organization as one instance of a large organization, and we say that, we are going to support configurations, we're going to support policies for different sets of employees, okay? So first of all, you can tailor policies, the specific leave policy, a specific travel and expense policy toward a certain class of employees. You can have a different set of performance parameters for different classes of employees, right? Your PMS. So we support configurations where based on employee sets. Next, flexible notifications. What I mean by this is, each time in a workflow, each time in a process, okay, what we call as process, Each time there's an approval, you can notify the participants in the workflow, and also to business heads or to functional heads or to people who are playing corporate roles. Okay, and we also support dynamic templates wherein you can actually, as part of a workflow, send a customized document, a customized template to different players. And the crowning piece is, we have a workflow which is very dynamic, where you can define who are the approvers in a workflow. And these workflows are for all of our systems, be it for leave, be it for travel and expense, be it for promotions, be it for, what we call as an employee self-service, right, where an employee can actually update their own data, and based upon whether the field is critical, you can say, hey, this needs approval from or vouching from the HR or from a manager, right? So we have customizable, configurable workflows, which can again apply to different sets of employees. So all in all, we have a solution, which is very, very configurable, which is a core for an organization, to function today. And as the organization grows, you are going to be able to tailor and change those workflows, and the software is actually growing with you. And to top this, we have a bunch of operational business metrics, which I will talk to you on a following slide. PeopleWorks is a cloud-based solution. We are very clear that we're not going to do on-premise. What this gives our customers is benefits of any innovations we do, any enhancements we do, gets rolled out to all our customers. Everyone gets it. And it's all baked in, you pay for it and you're going to get it. You're going to get software which is always growing with you. As we meet more complex requirements of larger customers, you're going to be getting those benefits. Bug fixes are going to be rolled out very, very rapidly, right? And we have quick release cycles, once a month for enhancement cycles, and 4 times a month, for defect cycles or any priority defects we come across. And using the cloud, the benefit is, you don't have to deal with servers, server maintenance, IT folks, and you have a total low cost of ownership. Moving on to slide 7, and this is taken from a survey, SHRM, the tech trends, and Murli has covered most of these, so this is going to be like a rehash of that. Performance management, you're going to have very, very frequent feedback. You're going to be having not just performance assessment, you're going to be having competency assessment, they're going to be having, measurable soft skills. That's going to feed into, a skill matrix that again is going to, feed into capability, of the organization. Real-time engagement evaluation, rise of people analytics. Now, this is one place where, I think HR really is going to be growing, because you're going to be talking of capability analytics, It's not just the expertise and skill of your workforce, not just their qualification skills, but also the soft things, ability to develop and maintain relationships, conflict management, influencing, the whole hog. Competency acquisition analytics, talent, how are you going to be acquiring the right talent, how are you going to be managing the right talent, and is a tech solution giving you the data in order for you to take these decisions. Capacity analytics, right? How efficient are the people we have, and how are we going to be, aligning ourselves for growth, and what's going to be the plan? So this is manpower resource planning would feed into this. Employee churn analytics, very important. Large organizations and small organizations, talking about retention and being able to measure risk, looking at, leave trends and looking at performance, and all of this feeding into analytics, And maturation of the learning market, your performance management system, feeding into a skill assessment, feeding into a skill matrix, feeding into learning and development, and setting the stage for training programs, right? And new landscape for talent acquisition. Here, with social media coming in, you're going to be reaching out to, LinkedIn, or be it, your full-blown pure play services like Naukri, right? You want a recruitment to be able to tap these and to be able to manage, acquisition of talent. growth of contingent workforce management. You need some way of measuring, uh, uh, and managing your contingent workforce, be it in terms of project management, be it in terms of the timesheet management, be it in terms of tracking vendor payments, vendor management, and adoption of team management tools, about the wellness apps, which Murli actually spoke about. So, folks, I had quite a bit to talk about, and I think the time has now come for us to take questions. So, Murli, I think if you agree with me, we'll actually hand it over to the audience and begin taking questions.
Yeah, sure, Krishna. I think we should keep it interactive.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna and Mr. Murli, for the great insights. Meanwhile, you can provide your feedback in the survey link provided in the chat section, because, of course, your input really matters. We will now move to the questions from our listeners, and we have many questions here. So let's take this one by one. So we have a question by Swati Raj. So the question is, exercising and customizing benefits on part of employees would include the flexi benefit plan option in organizations. However, exercising this right should be flexible enough that they modify it on monthly basis. Will it not add on to the HR's work? So I would request any one of you if you can take the question.
Yeah, so let me take a shot at it, and then I'll ask Krishna to jump in. So that's, I think, Swati, what we're trying to do here is, if you're going to do this manually, yes, it's certainly going to add up to a lot of transactions with HR. The way flexi benefits have been administered, and this is not a new thing. It's been in vogue for, I think, last. At least I've experienced it. The first time I experienced it was in TCS, and way back in 2005, 2006. So it's been in vogue for 10, 12 years. So what we're saying by flexi benefits is, given the local laws, the tax laws and the employment laws, labor laws, we would actually be able to allow the employee to customize their benefits. Now, so for example, in India, we allow LTA. There is a leave travel allowance, right, which could be used. There is medical allowance that people could use. So an employee could go and actually customize and say, you know what, I really don't want to use medical benefits. However, I would want to use the LTA, because LTA you could do, according to the law, I think there is a time period for that, right? So these are some of the flexibilities that could be provided because we're using technology. We can never do this if you're doing it manually, right? So the transaction for the HR team is very minimal because of the flexibility that we're offering employees. Since it's being tracked online, it's tracked using technology. So HR has to just go and educate employees in terms of how they can do, and probably help them make some decisions if they really want to. So, for example, how do I choose one benefit over the other? What would be really useful for me? This is given my life situation. So, for example, people who are coming from campus who just joined would like to really spend and go on travel, right? So they may want to take their LTA. However, somebody who's married and has a family would want to spend more time or more money on medical insurance or medical benefits that the company is offering. So this is a flexibility that could be provided, and it can be done only if you use technology. If you have automated it, and if there is technology platform that allows you to do this, you could do this. Otherwise, the transactions will be very unimaginably complex. Krishna, do you want to add anything?
Yes, Murli, I completely agree with you. That's a very good question. And at PeopleWorks, we have a flexible benefits policy program, which we have actually rolled out to many of our customers, and to customers the largest, who have about 20,000 employees. And the thing is that the window for them to do the planning, is open for about 20 days in a month. So they go and they make the changes, and there's self-help provided, and they reach out in case they don't need help in planning. But they're able to make the changes and they accommodate those changes as part of the solution.
So I think Swati must have got her answer now. So now let's move on to another question by Mr. Venkateshwaran. So he says that while he agrees that technology does help to large extent in hiring and recruitment and HR administration, how can it support in building employee engagement?
Okay.
So if Krishna can.
Yeah, I'll take a shot at it, Krishna, first, and then maybe you can answer that. See, Venkateshwar, so the way typically in the older days, engagement or, was using surveys, right? Typically, and that's, I think most companies still do use surveys. And there's enough research to show that employees' engagement surveys do not really give us the correct picture of the engagement levels of employees, because engagement can actually vary, and a survey actually captures the employee's response or employee's engagement on a particular day at the particular time of filling the survey, right? Or the recency effect also can come in. So surveys, there is research to prove that surveys are not the best ways to actually measure employee engagement, right? So now using technology, you could actually get a lot of information about engagement. So I'll just give one example. So for example, many companies use Yammer, and we also use Yammer internally to keep conversations going on, right, within the company. So for example, I'm rolling out an increment plan. I'm rolling out an insurance plan. I'm doing something on the HR policy front. There is a lot of conversation that gets captured on Yammer. So if I do a quick sentiment analysis, I would get to know, how are employees responding to this, right? That's one way of looking at getting feedback, instant feedback, immediate feedback on some policies that might impact employees. That's one. The second part is what kind of conversations that are happening on the social platform, right? Are people discussing work-related stuff, or they are really engaged in fun activities? So where is the conversation going? So that's another way of getting it. So there are these subtle mechanisms by which we are able to get how engaged the workforce is. So it's a holistic data. It's not just a survey data based on survey, where you take some action, and sometimes based on the survey you take an action that really does not result in the outcome that you want. Now, when you're capturing data on a real-time basis and doing this kind of analysis and are taking corrective steps, possibly incremental steps, that will get you the result that you really want. So that is my response to the question. Krishna, over to you.
Thanks, Murali. Right at the top of my head, I think there are about three things to think of here. One is there's an organization lay out a policy saying that, hey, I'm going to be seeing to it that I'm going to have my managers have regular one-on-ones. I'm going to measure and track my skip level meetings happening on a regular basis. Okay, so that's one way in which you're going to be touching base with the employee. Okay, on a personal basis. So technology can help you actually monitor the hygiene of whether that thing is happening. Okay, that's one. Then the next is, if you have a flexible performance management system, that's an excellent place for you to actually set out KRAs and KPIs to actually measure engagement. Where you actually solicit feedback or as to whether the employee is getting the right kind of work, the right quantity of work, and the kind of work which interests the employee, right? So that's a place where you can get that information. And thirdly, feedback, which Murali also covered. You can always be doing the E360s and surveys and helping that to drive the organization's overall strategy in terms of employee engagement. So there's not one magic bullet, but really it's a host of these things, which are going to help you.
So I think this really helps to know Mr. Venkateshwaran and getting his answer to your insights. Second, we have a question for Murli by Rashmi, and she asked that any digital transformation is underpinned by a digital mindset. So is this the biggest roadblock in terms of digitalization? How does HR play a leading role in ensuring employees get aligned with technology?
Yeah, I think any transformation, whether it is digital or otherwise, requires a change in the mindset. Primarily because people are going to be doing things very differently than what they were doing in the past. So there is going to be a need for changing mindset. And like any other change initiative, there will be forces that will support the change, and then there will be forces that will resist the change. In my view, both are useful for change. Resistance is not bad. Support is not necessarily always good. Both are energies that needs to be tapped in. As far as the mindset for HR team, and I think, in my view, any digital transformation that we embark on, especially in the area of HR, the department or the function, first of all, needs to, change its mindset. The function needs to, HR employees, HR people who are in the team need to understand that they're going to have more time on their hand in being able to service their employees. So the role of being an employee advocate is going to get enhanced. The touch points can increase, the contact can increase. So they need to understand that they are going to have more time to be able to do value-added work for employees, and think about how they can actually do this. The second piece is they need to adopt the technology or the digital, applications that are coming their way, and they should be the fast adopters of these, so that they're able to take it and take full advantage of technology. These are two things that I think HR needs to adopt. There's another piece to this as well is more and more I'm seeing, and this is a change that I'm seeing in the function. Today, HR conversations with their stakeholders, and especially if they're talking to business stakeholders, the conversation does not happen in a very touchy-feely way. It's more about data. So as much as data they can get about a particular item, the conversation becomes more engaging with the business stakeholder. So how do I really leverage data? How do I get the data? And how do I make meaning and insights from the data and being able to present to my business stakeholders and get their buy-in and mind share in terms of the programs and policies that I'm going to roll out. So these are three things that HR folks can focus on. And I think it's a huge opportunity for HR folks to look at the way they actually have been doing their work. So I think that's where the opportunity lies.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question actually, because this is not just HR, but basically in any organization, how do you bring in change? Because at least in two large organizations which I have seen, and at least one in which I worked in, a common way in which it would be done is you actually have a workout and you mix it up. You get the people who you think are the prominent naysayers as part of the team and get some others in and get them to discuss it and come up with an action plan on how to implement it and what's the value in doing so. And by the end of the workout, which is typically a 3 or 4 hour session, they come up with typical things to do in order for a change to be effective. And by which point in time you've actually converted the naysayers into people who are actually going out there and rolling out the change.
Okay, great, Krishna. So we also have a question for you by Shahin, and he asked that while it's important to focus on enablement and empowerment, so he says that is it really possible to move focus away from efficiencies?
Oh, excuse me here, Shahin. I really did not mean to say that the focus has to be away from efficiency. Efficiency and productivity, they're the bedrock. They're given. They're given. They absolutely have to be there. What I'm saying is it's not just digitization of transactions, but it's time to think, that this thing is already there, but it's a given. We are in 2017. But are we talking larger initiatives? Are we talking of using analytics? Are we talking of driving bigger things, with technology, and using data to drive decisions? So you're right. It's not moving focus away, but once you have efficiency, what next?
Great. Thanks, Krishna. And I think we have a little time constraint, so we'll take one more question. And the question is by Monica. So she asked that cultural and mindset change to a digital future is difficult, especially for a non-tech organization. So how the same can be addressed?
If it's a non-tech organization, and today, I don't know whether it's non-tech or tech. There is no differentiation in my mind. I'll tell you why. Even somebody who's not gone to school, the digital divide is kind of thinning out. So when I say people who have access to digital technologies and people who don't have access, that divide is really thinning out. And the things that are happening in India, for example, people, the vendor who sells vegetables on the street is able to do digital transactions. Similarly, your maidservant who was completely unorganized sector, they have not probably even gone to school, they are able to carry out digital transactions. Now, so there is technology available, there is access available. So it is about the willingness of the organization and the leadership within the organization to transform and use technology for its benefit. And if that is there, if there is intent and purpose within the organization, I think digital transformation, even in a non-tech organization, is possible. The question is, does the organization exhibit that intent? Do they really want that intent? Do they really want to ensure that the employee experience of their workforce needs to be transformed, it needs to change? If that's the case, then this is possible. And then if the organization thinks that, I don't want to do this, this is not going to help me in any way, then tough luck. That would be my response to your question.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna and Mr. Murli, for the great insights. Meanwhile, we are going to wrap up our today's webinar, and we have many more questions coming in, which I would request you both to take offline. Once again, we thank today's webinar partner, PeopleWorks. Also, a gentle reminder to give your feedback in the survey link we have provided in the chat section in order to help us improve. Our special thanks to our speaker, Mr. Krishna and Mr. Murli, for this webinar and invaluable information that they have shared with us today. I would also like to thank everybody in the webinar audience for participating in today's presentation. Stay tuned for many more such exciting sessions. That concludes today's webcast, and thank you and have a great day.